I was sitting, and I was standing, I was looking at my wife and we were talking. And next thing you know, like this big, huge metal chair goes flying over my head and like hits my wife and hits my friend in the face. I'm Adrian Black. I'm from Virginia, put the ill in Danville, living in Shenzhen, and you're watching Blackpats. I was working as a youth and family counselor in Durham, North Carolina before, and I was getting my master's in social work. And it was really intense, 40-hour weeks, really intense work. I heard about a program to come teach English in China, and I've always admired Chinese philosophy, whether it be Taoism, Confucianism, Sun Tzu, and Chinese martial arts. I was studying Wing Chun at the time. And so I was like, man, I really want to go to China. China seems like a cool place. I want to see what the people are like. I want to actually learn Kung Fu for a real Chinese person. And because of that, I was here. I was on it. So I applied for the program. I didn't get in at first, but then some people dropped out and I was able to get in. Arrived here in Beijing, summer of 2012. And my first week in Beijing was crazy. Beijing is a crazy place. If you get a chance to go, please go. Because it's super cultural, but in the summertime it's super sweaty and hot. And it's people everywhere. So in China, I work as an entertainer, a singer, a DJ, a drummer, do acting and modeling whenever I can. So just an all-around entertainer. I work here at the Brew in Fujian. Stop by and see us. I work as a singer here and I also work a few other places as a DJ. I have my own project, which is called China. Putting out a new album, so look for that. In the link below. And man, every day I get an opportunity to like practice and rehearse with my lovely wife, who I met here. She's a dancer and she's a choreographer for our show. So we have practice, or I practice with the band. I work out. I cook my own food, you know what I'm saying? Use some kale, some salmon, you know, some nice fresh ingredients. And then at night, I either DJ or I sing for Expats, Blackpats, whoever wants to come to the show and hear us that night. Tonight we have a hip hop jam, so it's a cypher, which is also something cool that we're doing, trying to bring to China. That's basically it. You know, every day is different. And that's one of my favorite parts about being here, is that every day is a new experience. Every day is crazier than the day before. Initially, the biggest shock I had was because everything I knew about China was from Kung Fu movies, and Kung Fu movies are normally set in the past, so I thought everybody still wore like traditional Chinese clothes and like, you know what I'm saying, like the Vietnamese straw hats, but I was totally wrong about that. I mean, their fashion is almost a little bit more forward than what I was accustomed to back in Virginia, North Carolina, so people here just, you know, have all types of swag. And also just the difference of the language. After being here 6 years, I speak some Chinese, but even still, there's still a barrier every day in the cultural differences, things that I may consider to be rude. Other people here just normal. Where in the West, you know, we've kind of like, you know, suited and booted, where we try to be so polite and nice all the time, where sometimes it just gets in the way of normal life. Chinese people don't have time for that. They're always on the go. I mean, they have to compete with each other and with the West, so they have to focus in a way that's totally different. And then they also don't focus in a way that's totally different. And I mean that in the most endearing way. Just the way that things are set up here is, in Shenzhen specifically, it's so convenient. You know, food can be brought to you anywhere at any time. Alcohol can be brought to you anywhere at any time. You can drink it anywhere at any time. Any product that you want, you can order it online and have it brought to you, sent to your doorstep in 2 to 3 days. So because of that, they don't have to, you know, overthink things. In a lot of ways, life here is simpler. And I feel like the language is also simpler, a reflection of that. So, 3 things I don't like about China. Well, I love China. It's a great place. However, there are some things that aren't so normal for me, being American, living in China. And they all consist with pollution. Whether it be air pollution, I come from the South, where it's not a lot of factories and things polluting the air, so the air is clean back home where I'm from, but here it's a little different. A lot of factories, they're running all the time because the world don't sleep, so Shenzhen don't sleep. Light pollution, speaking of not sleeping, light pollution. There's lights here. If you ever lived in the inner city area, there's lights on all the time. and you can't really avoid it, so you don't get to see the stars. And for me, I love nature, and looking up at the stars was something I used to enjoy living back home all the time. And noise pollution, this is the one I hate the most. Cars, there's a lot of cars, a lot of horn honking. People here, they use the horns to communicate, hey, I'm here, like, hey, look out for me. And when you're inside your car, you don't fathom how loud it is. But if you're walking through a crosswalk and somebody beeps the horn at you, it's like, I can hear my neighbors and they can hear me. And it's really noisy here. It's noise all the time. The shops, they have loud music. They overpower each other with their loud music. Here, people are desensitized to it because it's normal for them. But for me, being from the West, where my hearing is not all that great from years of listening to loud music, which I wish I wouldn't have, but years of listening to loud music, you come here and the noise pollution is like a little intense. Super convenient. I mean, the metro system here is amazing. Taxis here get you from point A to point B for a lot cheaper than you try to do that in America. Bus system here is great, so it's super convenient. I've grown a lot in the past 6 years, and this city has grown a lot since I've been here. I went from a pretty amateur performer to be a professional performer, a professional drummer, professional DJ, and I've grown because of the opportunities that I've gotten, which is the third thing. Shenzhen, you get opportunities to where there's so much competition in the West, especially like in music, art, and entertainment, which I'm in. There's a lot of competition, there's a lot of established business, where things here aren't as established as they are. They're open to providing opportunities for people that are trying to grow, they're trying to get better. So that is closing because there's more people moving here and there's more people to take those opportunities, but there's so many people and there's so many opportunities. And if you are able to crack the language barrier, it's almost limitless, the possibilities of where you can go and how you can grow here. So if you want to just drop your life that you had before, try something different, this is the place to do it. My greatest and worst experiences here has happened in the same neighborhood. Neighborhood called Bison Joe, where they have a foreign kind of bar area where there's 2 or 3 foreign bars, NYPD, Bionic, and Petco. If you're here, check them out, love those places. I was there with my wife, and we were hanging out and just enjoying some time. And beside these restaurants are some Chinese restaurants. And there were some guys there, and they were drinking, and they had an intense night. And I think I went to the store to buy something, and one of the guys spoke to me, and maybe I didn't give him the love that he wanted. Maybe he lost face. I was sitting, I was standing, I was looking at my wife, and we were talking. And next thing you know, like this big, huge metal chair goes flying over my head and like hits my wife and hits my friend in the face. And so then all ruckus breaks loose. It's melee. I'm just trying to check on my wife, make sure she's okay. She's fine. She's just a little woozy. Me and some other friends were confronting the guys that did it. And then the owners of one of the places that's not there anymore, Magma, he's like, no, let's just go to the police. Let's like handle it the right way. Let's do things in the right way. And I'm with him because like me, I'm not a violent person. I abhor violence. I'm not about violence. I love Kung Fu, but I'm not about violence. I'm all about balance and peace. We decided to go to police. We had everything on video. The guy that actually threw the chair, he didn't end up at the police station. Some of his friends did, but he snuck away. There was the police weren't really able to hold him accountable, and nobody was really held accountable, and nothing happened because of it. But I think about if that would have happened in America and it was reversed, and me as a black man would have threw a chair at a Chinese woman, who was a guest in America, I don't think that would went well for me. And I think they would have definitely found me and done something about it, especially if it was on video. So in that way, I felt like that was one of my craziest experiences because I just felt like it wasn't any justice for me as a foreigner and for my family, for my wife. However, with the guy missing and everything, I could see how, and the way they tried to explain it was that maybe somebody had said something disrespectful to them, but I don't think anybody's words is ever an excuse for doing physical violence. Like, they don't compare, like words versus physical violence. No matter if somebody says something racist, which I don't think anybody did because we were minding our own business, but if somebody had done that, and that's what was the catalyst for it happening, I don't think it's ever an equal exchange for violence. And So that was a crazy experience because I had never really been in a situation where there was just a blatant injustice, nothing be done about it. And I feel like it was solely because I was a foreigner. In that same neighborhood, Magma, which is no longer there, it's no longer there because the last album that we released before this one, we did a really big release party, and the place is it's small. It's a small place, maybe it's packed with 50 people. But it was 300 people there, and it was way too many people, and the other restaurants in the area didn't really like that. And so after that night, they couldn't have any more parties, so kind of shut this place down. I'm not proud of that, but I am proud of it because, a lot of people from the community came out and supported us, and it was a great night. So it was one of my greatest nights in that same neighborhood, but also one of my craziest experiences as well. China is a very safe place. There's no guns here. There are, guards, police on every corner. But like in my situation in Baishizhou, justice doesn't necessarily always work for black people. I'm not saying that Chinese people are racist. I am saying that there are people that have problems with foreigners here. And that problem can spiral out of control very quickly. So if you're ever in a situation where things are getting intense, emotional, anger is involved, just remove yourself from the situation as quickly as possible, because you can get jumped here. It becomes a us versus them thing, and we're all human. Like, we're all one human family. However, my experience is different because I look different, and people treat me differently because I look differently. And that happens in America, that will happen in London, and that happens in China as well. And it happens in different ways for different experiences. But here, it's better to just avoid all conflict. And I know that that's not necessarily what we're always taught. Somebody wants to bring you negativity, you have to answer that. And I'm not saying cower, but I am saying to run. I am saying because your life here, the opportunities you get here, the chances that you get here are much more important than beer muscles or flexing with some guy, or some girl over something that doesn't matter, that's not important. And your life and your safety is much more important. Again, gun violence is not a thing here. However, people fight. There are problems. Be safe. Just go home. Just get in a taxi. Go home. There's taxis everywhere. Get a DD. Get a taxi. Go home. It's not worth it. Biggest thing I've learned since I've been here, my personal experience, the only thing stopping you from being who you want to be is you. I changed my environment in order to learn that lesson. Because of the opportunities and the growth I've had here, I've been able to grow into the performer that I've always wanted to be. I was overweight before. Being here, I've been able to, I don't know if it's because of China, but because I've chosen to be the person that I want to be, and I've been given the opportunities to do that, I've been more inspired to be the person I want to be. And that's being in shape, that's taking care of my body, feeding myself good foods, that's making good, healthy decisions. And everybody here does not make good, healthy decisions. There's a lot of bar culture here, so people drink and smoke and do all types of things. And that's what you want to do. You do it. You can do it here. If you want to start sourcing, you can do that here. If you want to teach and help people improve their language skills, you can do that here. If you want to become a performer or become a dancer and build your dance career, or make videos and be a videographer, or be a photographer. I know people here that started as teachers and now they're doing what they really want to do. So I feel like that's one thing that I've learned, and I really cherish my Shenzhen, China experience for that, because you have an opportunity to reinvent yourself as who you really want to be. And there's nothing wrong with that, and people embrace it. And you're not the only one that's going to be doing it. And so you meet communities of people who want to do that as well. And I've been able to build and be a part of communities, building the Shenzhen music scene, and it's changed so much since I've been here. And it's because that people work really hard to create culture here and be a part of the culture. So you can do whatever you want. Just do it. So I have a podcast called Pass the Bag Pod. Check that out. You can find that on wherever you listen to podcasts, YouTube or anything. Also, you can find my album on vagina.rocks. Vagina.rocks is the website, or vagina.bandcamp.com, or on iTunes, Spotify. It'll be there. You'll be able to find. And my IG, Adrian Black 11, Adrian Black 11. The number's 11. Adrian Black 11. Please follow me. I'll follow you back. I promise. And make sure you check in with Blackpats and check in and see who's gonna say something really cool and really crazy next, because it's gonna be fun and Moro's awesome. So, peace.